Hello and welcome to the OGIY podcast, episode 13.
Around there.
Today,
Sounds about right.
so today you have me, my host, me, Umar Aslam, and my co-hosts Randy Modula and Peter. What is your last name?
Do?
Lou.
Guten Tag, meine Freundens.
Okay. Well, anyway, so we're all a bit tired, but it's episode 13, and it's just all us three again. So let's go straight into the world news.
Let's do some news.
Yes. So I think the major one right now, other than United States news, because let's not deny this, it's all a fucking shitstorm right now.
Yeah.
But so let's go with the EU. EU considers blocking U.S. tourists due to high COVID infection rates in the United States.
I mean, it makes sense. We flattened the curve and we stopped the infection rate, and then we fucked around and we did a whole bunch of admittedly very economically important protests, or not economically, but socially important protests. And as everyone predicted, even the protesters, everyone got fucking sick again.
The thing is, we never really. Yeah, what, Peter? Peter, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What were you going to say before I interrupted you?
Oh, yeah, no. I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going off what Randy was saying.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So the thing is, Randy, we never really did flatten the curve. We did, but never reduced, if that makes sense. Even before the protests, because
there was a lot of talk of people oh, okay, we're figuring it out, we're flattening the curve, and we're on a good track. And then we decided this is the moment. We're not gonna put up with this shit anymore. And then we got really sick.
Yeah, because I don't think it's necessarily it's that. But I personally believe it's more so a bunch of Republican states, are trying to reopen the economy. Really, the first ones to open it up. They really didn't enforce.
Yeah, that's probably also a part of it.
Yeah, because the protests, it's only been 2 weeks, and the thing is, we haven't been really getting anything from the protests so far, anything major. It's just mainly we're only getting the side effects of the economy's opening up right now. So I give another 2 weeks before I can say that the protests have definitely done something.
I feel you.
Because it's definitely a given what's going to happen.
I mean, yeah, but even the people that are protesting are look, we get it, we're gonna get sick.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think it's a legitimate issue. Unlike open the economy, where it's that's a different can of worms, really, because it's more not as if you can't. It's just more akin to that most people's jobs rely on the service industry, which has been totally shut down, more or less.
Yeah, no, I know a couple people that have had some difficulties with the shutdown.
Yeah. Anything you have to say, Peter?
I mean, with everything that's been going on, I think EU's doing a smart decision, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what did you say? I didn't hear you.
What? Sorry?
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I said the EU made a smart decision to block the US citizens.
Okay. I didn't hear you what you said. You said there's something smart decisions. I was like, wait, who or what? But anyway, what I find the next thing, let's go to Asia, where me and Peter are from.
Jump the map a little bit.
Yes. So anyway, North Korea is about to dropping cigarette butts, trash, and 12 million propaganda posters and pamphlets and such. I mean, the thing is,
we should specify. I don't think they've actually gotten around to it yet.
I know they haven't done it yet. But what's interesting is that the South has been doing it for a while now. Quite recently, and it's it's mostly done by ex-North Korean, I don't know how you would call them, not refugees, but not really expats.
People that have left
defectors,
North Korea and now talk shit about it.
Yeah, more or less, like our exes.
Yeah, North Korea's exes are talking shit.
So they've been actually sending propaganda and USB files of Korean dramas and stuff, using the same method over the North Korean border. And the thing is, North Korea doesn't like it. The South Korean government decided to prosecute the people who are doing it. But more or less, North Korea has cut all contact with South Korea and blew up one of their not South Korea's, but I guess how to describe it as that place the transmissions to talk to the South Korean government, if that makes sense.
The what? Are you talking about they blew up something in no man's land, or what? What
They
exactly did they
they
blow up?
destroyed like some building that had more connections to North Korea and South Korea. Where each government can talk to each other more or less.
Yeah, like
Oh, so
I
they're
get
just
the
saying,
basic
like, fuck.
gist of what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, they just more or less cut off all contact with South Korea, and also they're putting more troops on their border right now as we speak.
Oh, how fun!
Yes.
Yeah.
You thought it was India and China, but no, it's actually the Korea.
Everyone's feeling all
Damn,
tense.
look at this poster.
Can you show it to us?
It's the one in the article.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's one of the articles. It's like the Kim
Hmm.
Jong Un with like 2 nukes in his hand or whatever.
To be frank, that looks like that's from North. Yeah, these are the North Korean defectors who are posting that more or less.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for a few years now, so I think North Korea is just done with that. But also, talking about that whole issue with India and China, India's prime minister said, fuck it, we'll give our soldiers guns and let them use it however they want on the border now.
Huh.
Oh, that's a good move.
Well,
With China.
that'll surely escalate situations.
I call that move fucking around and finding out.
I call that the move I call that the Pakistani move right there, because India's been doing that with Pakistan for a long time as well now.
It's like we're just gonna put
So at
these
this point, instead
here.
of one border
we'll
that's violent,
figure
you
it
have
out.
2 borders that are violent now. Oh boy.
I call that the American way of de-escalating a situation.
Yes, you mean the American way of giving freedom.
Yes.
De-escalation, more like escalation. Am I right?
Yes, thank you, Peter. Very cool. So anyway,
Comedy.
yeah. Anyway, so also in Asia, Japan is right now has been curbing the spread of coronavirus so well that they don't have enough patients to test cures for coronavirus.
Yeah, well, it's because they're not fucking around.
Well, the thing is, the government was, but most of the people were like, this has been a saying, at least in Japanese social media. My understanding is that they're saying right now is the people helped avert the virus, not the government mainly.
Good for them. That's
Ye-
gamer as hell.
Yeah, a lot more gamer than the United States was.
Well, we have some issues we're looking to air.
To be frank, we're the country of Karen, so I mean, I don't know what else you expect.
Yeah, we are. That's kind of us.
Yeah, and Kyle, Karen and Kyle. This is we're just gonna
Those are
stereotype
two
came from.
wildly different stereotypes, but I feel you. I know what you're getting at.
Yeah. Because even though the government didn't do that much, and they were criticized for that heavily, it's just mostly the Japanese society and like I guess culture really just like fuck, we don't want to have this shit happen again.
I feel you.
So yeah, and also, yeah, you ever read that what was that Bible story with Moses? Like he's the one who brought like the locusts to like Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw this.
Yeah. So apparently, the 4th generation of locusts right now in East Africa that are being about to like
There
hatch out
is
the
a
eggs.
fucking plague of locusts.
Yeah, it's just more plague of
Africa.
locusts, and it's 8,000 times more larger and worse than the ones before it.
This is what happens. One person didn't let his people go, and now you're all
Wait.
fucked.
What comes after the plague of locusts?
Well, I mean, famine mainly. If we're actually talking about what actually happens in real life, so mainly
Is that what happens? Is that famine?
No. What comes
of the Bible?
It's darkness for 3 days.
yeah, I think so.
Order of Bible. I'm looking it up. The 10
Yeah,
plagues.
I have it up on Wikipedia right now.
Okay, but let me tell you
wild animals.
let me tell you what's happening in
pestilence,
real life with
hails,
these
locusts.
locusts
It
mainly.
is darkness.
Yeah. So let me explain what's happening in happening right now with the whole locust stuff. So there's about 5 million people who could face starvation with this, especially with stuff like COVID and some of the heavily more affected countries, likely Somalia, and also because of food shortages because of the locusts eating everything. These locusts specifically are probably the most dangerous ones right now because they're called desert locusts, and they're the ones who probably eat the most crops per minute, if that makes sense.
So here's my question: if you're just out and about and you get fucking hit with a swarm of locusts, do they do anything to you, or do they just like fucking buzz?
The locusts, don't my understanding, do not eat meat or like flesh. It's just mostly.
Well, I mean, like, will they like fuck with you? Like, do they do other stuff to people, or is it literally just they'll just go past?
Yeah, like, do they like
I think
bite you?
Just go past. That's my understanding.
Oh,
tight. Good for the locusts, I guess.
Yeah.
Good on them for not like eating you.
That'd be fucking terrifying if locusts worked by like
let me check.
piranhas.
Can locusts eat humans?
Fucking
Can
omnivores.
locusts eat humans?
Oh god.
That would be fucking terrifying. Can you imagine that?
You just
You're
like
just fucking
strip you
ten-
down to the bone within like.
Yeah, you're just tending your yam fields and you just hear out in the distance and then your bones.
Oh man.
Jesus.
So I'm saying nothing but locusts is eating
Scary.
humans.
Yeah, it says it can't, or they don't.
Yeah.
They
Maybe
don't.
corpses, like maybe like dead corpses, but it's
Yeah,
maybe like a specific type of locust.
Well, I mean, they definitely can if they tried, but they just don't.
Yeah, no. So actually, some of the common, like how much an average locust swarm can eat is, at least in Kenya or so, like around East Africa, around this area, is about 10 elephants, 25 camels, or 2,500 people.
Wait, they can eat an elephant?
As much.
Oh,
As
okay,
much
okay,
as.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think saying they could eat elephants. I'm like, fucking Christ, locusts.
Oh my god.
What was that?
Chill.
I'm forgetting about a movie, but there was like some sort of like thing where it's like these like locust-esque animals could actually eat you. You know, I forget the name. Was it Aliens or something?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, no. So
I don't know
anyway,
what you're talking about.
Still fucking stuck on the mental image of locusts boning an elephant. Not boning, you know what I mean?
yes. You see, oh yeah. Imagine like a locust swarm like shaping into a
Thank you
drill
for
and then
putting
just
that
start
image in
poking
my
at
head, Randy.
elephant.
Jesus.
God, imagine
You know.
fucking. No,
Imagine that.
Let's emotionally move on.
Boning elephants.
Yes, the most emotionally charged thing known to man. Locust is fucking an elephant.
Right.
Oh Jesus Christ! How would that even work?
Right.
You know what? Let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so our next thing is actually before we actually go to you, Randy. I'm just gonna say that we're gonna have an ad in the next few seconds.
Oh, we have an ad?
Yes, ad
This
segment,
is
baby.
Ad time.
So let's go to the gamer news, Randy.
Shit, gamer news. That's
Yes.
my specialty. I actually found quite a bit of gamer news
Yeah.
these days. Lots of
I saw it actually.
tidbits to
I've
talk
noticed.
about. So we're just gonna cover these in the order that I'm interested in them. Not in the that I'm interested. I guess I'll go in the order I found them.
Mhm.
First things first. For this is less video game, just more general gamer news for the fucking
Yeah,
nerds
the
like me.
D&D.
Oh yeah, the D&D news. D&D is moving away from its more negative racial stereotypes.
I mean, they had a card that had the KKK on it, so I
No,
mean...
you're thinking of Magic the Gathering.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That did happen. They're dealing with that as well.
Okay, let's also
Huh.
talk about Magic after this as well.
Oh, sure. But what D&D is up to, as people know, when you play Dungeons and Dragons, every race has specific race class bonuses.
Oh,
Like
no.
all orcs are dumb as shit but really strong. Elves have extra dexterity, that kind of thing.
Oh,
And
shit.
Well, makes
orcs
sense,
and
yeah.
drows are always like the bad guys. And there's some race that's based on like the Romani people. And in Curse of
Oh,
Strahd,
that's
they got
great.
they got some bad raps in Curse of Strahd. So they're looking to tweak how they do racial stat bonuses. They're looking to do some more adventures with some of the other races to kind of flesh them out and make them not just I'm the evil bad man, brr. Which is fair, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what mechanics and interesting I'm interested to see how this will affect the gameplay.
Yeah, because I mean, like, no offense or anything, but isn't Romania like a Slavic country, if my understanding is correct?
I got no fucking clue.
I
Wait,
don't.
what are you talking about?
Romania.
about
You guys
Romani.
are- Romani?
Romani.
I don't think you guys are
Gypsies?
talking about the same thing here.
Listen, I'm gonna say my brochet as brochet.
Brochet.
Yes, yes. You want to eat some brochet? I actually had a brochet bun today.
Delicious flyer bread.
I know it's great and papery.
Yummy. Looking up this Magic the Gathering card you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no. So this actually Magic Gathering, because they're actually gonna remove some cards. There was this a card that was a KKK Morse on it, and you know what the number was?
What's up?
You know what the number was for that card?
What?
1488. So if anyone who doesn't know 1488, it's more a dog. It's a dog whistle for neo-Nazi groups. More or less, it's more hailing Hitler. The 14 words in hailing Hitler. So the 14 words is like some. I'm putting a name, but it's just a phrase more talking about like. I don't know how else you describe it, as like genocide, more or less. And it's just kind of
So I
Vote
looked up
prejudice?
the cards that were
Mhm.
messed with, that were changed.
Mhm.
And one of them is in fact called Invoke Prejudice.
Yeah.
And it's got like some KKK looking motherfuckers with battle axes and shit. And
Yeah.
if an
Damn.
opponent casts a spell that does not match the color of one of the creatures you
Oh,
have, it is countered.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is
Hey, look.
that was an interesting move they pulled. Who the
Yeah,
fuck?
no, it was.
There's also the card Crusade, which is your white creatures get +1/+1.
Oh, great. Just great. You know. I really hope they
Yeah.
fix this stuff, you know,
Oh,
because
and then the last one I'm talking about, they do have a card called Jihad.
oh great, I love that.
Oh yeah.
No, because like I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I kind of saw this kind of happening for at least a few years now, at least, because this stuff is gonna like blow back on them eventually. You know,
Yeah.
like no, I don't think they did it on purpose. I mean, okay, to be frank, the KKK one, the 1488, that's pretty fucking on purpose. That you know.
I haven't seen the number you're talking about, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
I mean, there was a card that had that number and like had some, something correlating with that more or less.
I would like to point out there's a card called Cleanse, which destroys all black creatures.
Oh, great.
What the fuck?
I understand. I understand like the
Yeah,
what they
we
were
understand.
going for, because the black is supposed to be the color of like undead and demons and stuff in
Yeah.
Magic. But when you just have Cleanse destroy all black creatures, it does
Yeah, it's
not
like
come across correctly.
exactly. You know. Yes, yes, but does that make me and Peter? I mean, if we're going by racial stereotypes, it doesn't mean Peter's yellow and I'm brown.
As soon as brown becomes a color,
Well,
in
let's
Magic,
move
I'll
on
let
from
you know.
this, shall we?
Yes, we actually probably should. But I've put any last words. This thing was going probably bound to happen because even though it's a fantasy game, like most of the cases, I don't think it's on purpose. But still, though, this is bound to happen when you have like games sort of like I wouldn't say eugenics esque almost. I wouldn't say that, but something like a kind of around those lines. You're definitely going to see these issues where it's not intentional, but it kind of looks like what the fuck's happening.
Yeah, I feel ya. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Anyway, so what's else on the gaming news?
What else on gaming news? The Nether update's finally out. For all
Yeah,
you
my
big
brother's been
Minecraft
playing it
players,
since
the fucking
yesterday.
Nether update happened,
Hell yeah.
which is a long time coming. It's super exciting to see.
Yeah, Randy, if you don't mind, can you list out some of the major points that are coming out on that?
Some of the major features, they are adding new biomes and shit to the Nether, so it's not just like
Whoa.
death
Just
in
like-
every directions.
Yeah.
They've put a lot more shit in the Nether, so it's not just ghasts, wither skeletons, blazes, and pigments. Now
Ooh.
there's more. Now there's a lot more neutral stuff you can find. There's even like friendly villages and stuff like that. There is like literally you can There's a thing you can set your respawn to the Nether, so like literally you can just play your whole game there. Like it's meant to make the Nether a lot more
Yeah.
doable and like interesting.
Yeah.
Other than just like this is all red and terrible and you'll die,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty neat.
I mean, you can definitely still die in the Nether. There's still
Well,
an increased
yeah,
chance.
but it's not.
I
It's,
know,
it's
that's
not
fair.
as terrible.
Yeah, no, it's actually livable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I saw it. I thought it's okay, whatever. My brother's been playing. I've asked them, and they enjoyed it a lot, So I think it's it's a good update.
The biggest thing is that there are no longer zombie pigmen. Like
Really?
they've replaced. Yeah, they got replaced with like other dudes, I guess.
Oh no.
To be frank, I still prefer the zombie pigman design.
Zombie pigmen are good.
Yeah, no, I enjoy their design. Maybe it's just because it's nostalgia and all, so I won't lie about that.
I like them.
Yeah, but anyway, so
EA is doubling down on Star Wars games.
oh boy, after they
course
said
they
we
are.
back off after 2 years.
Yeah, no, they're. I remember that when they were like, "Yeah, we'll make a couple of these," and then they made a shitload of money, and now they're like, "Hey, let's keep making these Star Wars games."
Yeah, it's like, hey, maybe if you don't make shit games, you actually probably be doing fine.
Hey, Fallen Order was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, it really was. Yeah, no. But what I'm waiting for is this Battlefield 6, at this point.
Yeah, fair. I'm excited
Ooh.
to see that. What's it? Rogue Squadron, I think it is.
Yeah,
Right.
the
pilot game.
yeah, definitely excited by that.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. In the realm of new releases, we also have the new Crash Bandicoot game coming out.
Yeah. Hey,
Have either of you heard about this?
I've heard it. I didn't really look into it that much.
I haven't heard of this. Hang on.
Because I'm not a PS4 guy, you know what I mean? Like PlayStation guy.
Oh, I'm not either. I just think Crash Bandicoot's neato.
Okay, you want? Yes, but also, have you heard the shitstorm that is The Last of Us 2?
Oh my god, I feel we probably should breach The Last of Us 2 since that's kind of relevant.
Okay, we'll save that for the opinion thing, okay, in a few minutes.
Sure, yeah, when we get to opinions, we'll just
Okay, but the Rogue Legacy 2, Randy, I saw you post this.
Yes. Holy fuck.
It looks interesting. It looks not bad, but what I'm
Rogue
wondering is
Rogue Legacy is finally getting a sequel. Rogue Legacy 2. Have either of you ever played Rogue Legacy?
No, I have not.
It is so fucking good. It is one of my very first roguelikes.
I see.
It's one of my very first like computer indie games. Rogue Legacy is a game in which in the first one you're a knight trying to get through a castle. The castle is split into 4 sections and each section has a boss. And every time the castle is super fucking hard, and every time you die, you come back as like the next in your bloodline, like your kid.
Yeah.
And every time you come back, you get different bonuses because you're a different person every time. So you have different bonuses, different debuffs, different buffs. And the castle's layout changes, but it keeps track of whenever you beat bosses. And you just keep running through it until you've beaten all the bosses and you can challenge the final boss.
Okay, I see.
I played that game when I was relatively young, and it was hard as fuck.
Here's the thing, though. Is it hard as Gungeon, though?
It's about as hard as Gungeon. I've played through a lot of Gungeon. It's about as hard.
To be frank, I can never get past the second level of Gungeon because I remember mastering was Binding of Isaac for a few years. I forgot how to play that. I'm like, oh, Gungeon looks the same thing. It should be fine, you know? And it's like, Jesus, fuck, I can't even go past the first level.
Shit is tight in the Gungeon.
Gungeon is hell, you know? But this reminds me a lot of Shovel Knight, you know?
Yes, it does have some Shovel Knight energy. That is
like
fair.
you know what I mean. Like I'm not saying an exact 1-to-1, but it gives me those vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can combine that.
Yeah. But what I find really interesting, if you look at the minimum requirements, you know how much RAM you need?
How much?
8 gigs.
For what?
Jesus, Rogue Legacy 2 is fucking violent.
Yeah, like I'm assuming that's maybe a mistake or something because the storage is only 5 gigs. You know, is this like
the Rogue Legacy games are not very big?
Yeah, no. I assume just like. Is this coming on Android as well? Because like that's like it makes sense something like an Android phone or something where it's like most of the RAM is used differently.
It's coming to Steam and Epic.
Yeah, I know. Which I was just looking at, it's like why the fuck 8 gigs? And even recommended it's 8 gigs. You know, it's like what the hell's happening? I assume it might be just a error on the editor side. You know,
yeah, maybe
like
that's fucking crazy.
Magazine. Yeah, I don't know. I find quite interesting to say the least.
I'm pretty pumped for it, regardless.
It seems good. I might buy it actually. Maybe I need first promise. Yeah.
While we're in Randy's indie game corner, I want to tell you: have you guys ever heard of Cook Serve Delicious?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Here's what you got to do when we're done here. You got to go onto your computer, which I'm assuming you're on right now. You got to look up the Cook Serve Delicious soundtrack, and you'll see the Cook Serve Delicious 2 full original soundtrack. Just listen to that shit. It's a bop. It's so good. That game is really... You're like a chef running a restaurant. You cook food. It's fun. It's whatever.
Is it 2 or 3?
2.
2. Go to 2. 2 is the good... I haven't played 3. 3's not out, but 2. Yummy. Yeah, that soundtrack rips. Just the very beginning of the very first song is just... gets me moving.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So is there other gaming news we have?
Sick, dude.
I've got a couple other. I have other pieces, but I can always save them. Like they're not very pressing.
Like, is it just like more game releases and stuff?
What's it? My brain isn't working. Titanfall 2 is receiving a resurgence in popularity. Avatar: The Last Airbender is doing a crossover with Smite for their next battle pass, which is pretty cool.
Oh God.
Oh no.
And what's it? Oh, this was sort of interesting. We might have a talk about this in a moment. GTA, what's it? You know how Epic gave away GTA 5 to a bunch of people?
Yeah.
It has brought up their concurrent user count to, as the article puts it, within shouting distance of Steam. Basically, Epic is starting to gain more popularity and more drive.
I mean, to be frank, Epic does kind of deserve that. Like, I mean, like, there's some stuff like, you know, like reviews and stuff, you know, I wish it would put on, but I mean, majority of the stuff it's done, it's been doing pretty good. You know, I mean, at least for reviews, they've been citing other sites as well. You know, like not necessarily like Metacritic, other sites, OpenCritic, I think as well. So yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm just hoping a long time ago when Epic was first. I think
it's pretty.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah.
You
know what were you saying, Randy?
Oh, I was saying a long time ago when Epic was first gaining its traction, people were like, "Fuck Epic, it's stupid. I only like Steam." I was like, "Here's the deal: if Epic does well, it's gonna give Steam some competition, and then maybe Steam will stop fucking sitting on their ass and do something."
I know. And they updated their UI, which is still shit in my opinion, but it's better than nothing.
I was gonna say, I'm very excited. I'm hoping Epic continues to grow because it'll make Steam finally have to fucking do something.
I mean, it did kill Origin now, so
fair. Well, I mean, Origin doesn't work that well to begin with.
And to be frank, the only good like publisher, I guess, launcher in my opinion is just what Uplay. But I mean, even then, Uplay is half the time broken.
Battle Networks, I've had no problems with BattleNet.
Yeah, BattleNet is pretty good.
Well, you see here, I have standards, unlike you two.
What do you mean standards? What's your fucking beef?
What? Yeah,
I
don't know what you mean. Like, what do you got against everything, man?
Against everything, you know, I'm an angry man, you see, you know. But I don't know, I'm just not a really big fan of the launcher. For some reason, it just takes up a lot of RAM, even though when I'm not playing anything.
What? Hang on.
But at least it actually functions. The Origin launcher, it took me fucking 4 hours to start a download.
I know, it's stupid. Origin can burn in hell. Well, here's the thing, you know, actually all Origin games are slowly coming onto Steam, so which is nice. I hope they do it to Epic as well. Or maybe for what likely happened was that Steam paid EA to bring their games back to Steam.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I'm excited to see what happens. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's good. I'm excited, you know.
I haven't gotten around to playing Yakuza 0 yet.
You got it?
I have it. It's on Games Pass, and I have it via a friend. I'm a leech.
So like me as well. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
No,
I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I do have it.
You will love it, Randy.
Tight.
Okay, anyway, so let's actually go to the more, I wouldn't say necessarily concerning thing, but the more interesting thing. Yes, The Last of Us 2.
Oh, okay. We should.
Oh God, what a shitstorm that is right now.
I have not heard what the controversy is about.
You haven't heard all of the fucking people raging.
Okay, so let me explain, Randy, if it's okay. You know, let me explain.
Please do.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna explain this to Peter and you guys, the audience. So what's happening was before it was released a few months ago, most of the plot actually got leaked. You know.
Oh, that's not good.
That's interesting.
So I'm not going to spoil what happened, but one of the main characters dies. One of the antagonists was apparently trans, you know, and there was going to be a lesbian relationship, which the lesbian relationship I kind of find hilarious because there was already in the Last of Us 1 with the main character, you know, not the other one, but the other main character. And as a DLC, and it's kind of like, okay, we already know she's a lesbian, you know, like whatever. And people got mad at that, more or less.
Got mad at what?
Of the leaks of like the enemy killing off one of the main characters.
So this
enemies being trans, and like
Yes, no, what were you saying?
You know, so let me just finish with my understanding. But initially, what people were mad at, like, oh, they killed one of the main people, you know, one of the main characters. The enemy is a trans woman, apparently, because that's an issue, I guess. And there's a lesbian relationship, and that's been a thing in Last of Us 1 as well. So at least that's before the game got released. You know?
Yeah.
So no, here's this other controversy with the game being released is because a bunch of critics are either praising it or not. You know, most people are saying the plot's great and the gameplay is good, you know. Well, people are saying, wait, that's bullshit. Like, people are getting mad because they was already mad with the whole game initially, you know. And people are saying the gameplay didn't really evolve. The plot's whatever, you know. Some people either like it or don't like it, you know, which I find is like fair enough, you know. And people are mad that these reviewers are giving like nearly 100%, you know, if that makes sense, or like 90s. People calling chills, you know, like chills, you know, like good or bad. And there are people who like didn't review it well, but they're getting mad now as well. Like not at the like other reviewers, at the people who are using them to compare. It's like it's our own opinion. Fuck off, more or less. And there was this YouTuber, Skill Up. Him and his team reviewed a game, and The Last of Us 2 said it's an okay game. It's not my cup of tea. It didn't really involve, in my opinion, whatever. It's fine. But he didn't really say anything. It was like a terrible game. But people were using it as more burning wood to put more to the fire, and he just got fucking pissed off at that more or less. And I think he took it down.
Fair.
And you see a bunch of this whole controversy about the reviews. It's like, wait, what about stuff? Other games, it's like, remakes, like the Bikini Bottom,
Rehydrated.
Yeah, that more sense. Like, why you gave it a 5 out of 10, even though you're comparing the same thing more or less. Like, it didn't evolve that much, And I'm just thinking, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ,
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a bad game. I've seen it. It's like, I'm not defending because I haven't played it at all. I've seen the plot. It's like, whatever. I was never really a big fan of the first game anyway, so it's like, it's fine, whatever. I can see where the logic is coming from here.
Yeah.
And then the gameplay, it's like, the gameplay hasn't aged poorly, if you haven't realized that. People aren't complaining about the gameplay today, you know what I mean, from the old game, right? And most of the stuff that was complained, they usually fixed it. It just seems like there are new issues, mind you, with the gameplay, but like most of that old stuff from the old game seemed to be resolved by what most people have said. So it's just people are being, in my eyes, just being angry for the sake of angry,
Yeah.
Well, so I should say up front, before I say anything, I have not played this game.
Yeah, same
and
here.
therefore, my opinion on it is not strong.
Yeah.
Anything I say here, I don't like. Even if I'm like, I fucking hate this game, it's not even fully meant because I'd never played it, so I can't give an opinion on it.
Yeah.
But echoing the news that I've heard, these are the issues I've seen. It was kind of what the beef is, and just some general aspects. First of all, what I've heard is that the way that main character from the first game dies is in a decision right at the beginning that's just kind of bullshit. And obviously, if you kill off one of your most beloved characters from the first game at the very beginning of the second game in a stupid way, people aren't gonna like that. They're gonna get really annoyed.
No.
It's I heard about that, like, because I kept up with some news about the first game. So when I heard that at the start of the second game, I'm like, huh, that sounds pretty dumb. And everyone was like, yeah, it is fucking dumb. Which was fair. It
doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah.
It just makes a tad bit of sense. The other thing that I just wanted to say about this game in general, I don't know if people's issue with it is that it didn't like evolve from a gameplay perspective. I don't know what you were expecting. All the news I heard about the first game was like, oh, it's like a cinematic story. It's you know what I mean? It tells a very strong narrative. It does all this plot stuff. What were you expecting? Like, it was never gonna get like super crazy gameplay enhancements because that's not why the first game was popular. If the first game was popular because it was a fun game, second game would have been fun too. But it wasn't. It was popular for telling a story.
So
that's why the second game focused on telling a story. There was an announcement made by the person who made The Last of Us 2, which was like, when we make this game, we don't talk about fun, or we don't use the word fun. It's like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean,
what the fuck is your goal then?
I mean, if I play devil's advocate here real quick, Randy, at least for the first thing. So with the whole killing of the one of the main characters, what's happened was actually, I guess it's partly near the end of the game, the main character was trying to save the other main character,
Yeah.
And more or less, so
spoilers from here on out. Joel saved or tried to save
spoilers here.
Killer.
Yeah. So what happened was Joel killed one of the doctors that were trying to make a cure. He killed the doctors trying to find a cure of the virus, more or less. And the main character, not Abby, but Ellie. Ellie was more or less the person who had the cure in her body, like she was immune to that thing, and they were trying to make a vaccine out of that. But the thing is, for it to be made, she would have had to die.
I had to get some shit out of her brain.
And more or less, Joel just said, fuck that, and killed everyone, more or less. And he never told Ellie about that at all, Because Ellie, if I remember correctly in the game, she said she would die for a vaccine or something for everyone to use, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, okay?
I don't know about that, but
so don't quote me on that part. But more or less, he killed everyone without her consent, more or less. And then we see her after in the second game, you see the daughter of that the Doctor more or less killed Joel in the same way, almost, if that makes sense.
I feel you.
You know, sort of like a juxtaposition, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying,
the
Randy?
whole vengeance. As I said, I haven't played it, so I don't know how. The thing about that though, it really just depends on how well it's done.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the main issue. You know, it wasn't really well done in my eyes either.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem. Is that if you're gonna murder one of your characters, it has to be done really well. Otherwise, everyone's gonna think it's the dumbest shit in the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be frank, I don't know how much of that was if it didn't got leaked. If how many people have been angry about that. I'm just being honest.
I don't know.
You know,
because
if it wasn't leaked, there probably would have people have probably been praising that.
Praising it for what?
Like not necessarily praising, but won't be angry at that if that makes sense.
I don't know how the leak has. If it's a sloppy character death, it's a sloppy character death. No amount of leaking is going to change that.
No, that's true. But like I think the death, it was not necessarily sloppy because I saw the cutscene. It's like, okay, you know, like whatever. You know, it's like fine, I guess. Like because again, I don't have any emotional.
That's not a good thing. That's pretty bad, actually.
To be frank, I know I was never big in the first game, so I was like, whatever, yeah, fuck Joel, you know, already. Because I saw that and it's like, what the fuck? Why is he this retarded? You know, like I understand like he's your daughter more or less and all, but it's like, dude, I think it's her choice, you know, not yours. And it's like then I see it's like, yeah, I can see the point. I can agree with the person like that. I could actually agree with the enemy, like, yeah, she was not portrayed in a good light, but you see why later on, if that makes sense. Throughout the game. You know, but again, we haven't played the game either, so we can't really talk about our own qualitative opinion on that, if that makes sense. You know, they're just seeing it from the other people's eyes mainly.
Yeah,
right. And the thing is, like with that
bring it up so people know what the consensus is online and how people feel.
You know, true. And second part is with that with the whole thing, it's not supposed to be fun. You see, for a long time, you know, video games have been trying to imitate movies and kind of vice versa, almost. You know, with the whole like, have you ever watched like something like Citizen Kane?
I have never seen Citizen Kane.
Heard of it, but I've never watched it.
But like you see these movies where it's like more than a movie. Would you say it's like an actual story to tell? You know, you're not trying to make merchandising off of that. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then that's where the second people are pissed off as well. Where they're saying it's like people are saying like take the story as seriously as if it's like an actual movie, like something like Schindler's List or something. It's like, no, it's a fucking game. You're making merchandise out of this. You know. Last time I remember, Schindler's List didn't have a fucking a bobblehead. No, did it? You know, yes, the great movie about the German businessman literally using Jewish slave labor during the Holocaust. You know.
But here's the thing: I'm not saying this game has to be marketable. I'm just saying that, like, if you're making a game and your game isn't fun, why the fuck did you make it?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Because what I've been hearing is like the game, like I think he was talking about plot wise, not gameplay wise.
I don't know, because I don't know the exact meaning of the quote, but just as a general, hold on, I guess I should probably look it up.
Yeah, because from what I've seen, the gameplay, it's like it's nothing really has gone like it fixed issues from the old game, but it's like whatever, you know, it's like nothing really, I guess, mind blowing. Like it's something like it seems like I would enjoy, you know, but it's not something I would get like, you know, mad at, you know, or won't have fun with, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I assume he was talking about plot wise, you know, not actual gameplay.
I found an article about it. What's it? We don't use the word fun, says Last of Us director to Neil Druckmann. For us, with The Last of Us specifically, Uncharted's a little different. We don't use the word fun. Druckmann told BuzzFeed when asked if the team ever tries to make combat less serious. We say engaging, and it might be a minor distinction, but it's an important one. And believe that if we are invested in the character and the relationships and their goal, then we're going to go along on their journey with them and maybe even commit acts that make us uncomfortable across our moral lines, maybe get us asked questions about where we stand on righteousness and pursuing justice at ever escalating costs.
So it's mainly talking about the plot, then not really gameplay from what I would...
Gameplay was definitely included in there. It's just that we don't use the word fun.
Yeah. So I think it was just sensationalized, you know, that's what's been happening, man. It's just been sensationalized. And people who are out of the loop said the game's fine, there's nothing really wrong with it. That's what my understanding is. People just say, it's like not as fun as the old one, you know?
But that's the problem, is that the first one, from my understanding of the first one, from what I heard, well, it told a good story. It was still just also like a good game. Like it was just well made and fun to play.
Mhm.
And also it told a really interesting and riveting emotional story.
Yeah.
Do that. That's awesome. I'm
Mhm.
100% into that. But if you make a game that is
Mhm.
like, oh, we don't care about if the game's fun, we care about the story we're telling, then make a
Mhm.
fucking movie. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like, go in a different medium then. You're in the wrong medium for that.
I mean, to be frank, you should tell that to Hideo Kojima. Then I'm just being honest.
Yeah, but his games are at least still fucking fun.
Have you seen his new one, Death Stranding?
I've only heard, so once again, a game I haven't played. I have
Mhm.
only heard like that game is at least fun.
Like my understanding, people are saying it should have just been a movie, more or less.
Fair.
You know,
I've
like,
just had the core gameplay loop of delivering packages and fucking around and peeing on ghosts.
mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard it's like I heard people just like either say it's like it's good or it's like it's not good. You know, it's like it was far more divisive from what I've heard. Like as a plot wise, it was really again it's Hideo Kojima games. They're always a total mess. You know what I mean?
I mean, Metal Gear Solid 5 went over well.
Well, here's the thing: like the Metal Gear games, you know, it's like it's mainly you just have to deal with long cutscenes and nothing else. The gameplay is usually bearable in those games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, people
You
like
know,
old
with-
Snake Man.
Yeah, but the thing with Death Stranding, it was really just a walking simulator. You know.
Fair.
I was like, at that point, I started watching cutscenes. You know, I was like, I have nothing yet to do with Kojima or people have worked on it. Again, like nothing with Naughty Dog either as well. But it's like you said, Randy, if you're trying to make a good plot, then make it a fucking movie. You know.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it makes
yeah,
understandable
like,
if you want to make a plot that transverses something that maybe do something a bit different, like something like with maybe Spec Ops: The Line, where it was like more like looks like a generic third-person shooter, but the plot was fucking great. You know, it was like, holy fuck, what am I doing?
No,
you know,
that game's got a good fucking plot.
yeah, you know. And here's the thing: it subverted the expectations.
Yeah, and the thing is that that game, as most people agree, the gameplay is bleh. The story is really good. I can accept that.
And the thing is,
I'm not saying your game has to be like fucking, oh my god, so riveting. I'm just saying that it's like if you're reaching the point where you're sacrificing interesting gameplay for a narrative, what are you doing?
Yeah, just like
I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, it depends. It's like in certain cases, like in the final, like what Spec Ops: The Line, you know, you were slowly losing your teammates, more or less.
Okay,
You know,
I don't see what that has to do with anything I've just said.
What I'm saying is like it makes sense to some extent if you're trying to have a narrative-driven game, you know, where you sometimes sacrifice the gameplay. I'm not talking about it in the sense of like you know, like what are you describing as sacrificing gameplay? Can you give me an example,
Well,
Randy?
I'm talking about how like in the first Last of Us
Mhm.
game, people are like, yeah, like this is a fun game, and also, oh my god, this story's so good.
Mhm.
But in the Last of Us 2, everyone's like, this game's shit. It's not good. Story's whatever, but game's not good, so it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
When your
'Cause-
gameplay isn't
Mhm.
fun,
Mhm.
then why are you making a game?
Fair enough. I mean, again, like if you're
I mean,
using
you
that
could
logic, then why was Spec
always
Ops,
make a
Spec Ops:
game.
The Line made then?
Because its gameplay is passable and it has a good story.
Mhm.
That's the thing. I'm not saying your gameplay has to be good. I'm just saying
Mhm.
if your gameplay is bad, why are you making it?
Yeah, don't make
Okay.
a game for the sake of making a game.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Why don't people at Naughty Dog thought the plot was actually good, you know, and they actually made the game?
That's what I'm saying. Regardless of the plot, if the game isn't good, why are you making it?
Mhm.
You're like, if you want to make a super narrative game,
Mhm.
and those exist, good ones of those exist too. Like fucking, regardless, if you want to make a game that is heavily narrative, if the game itself isn't at least to some degree passable, then it doesn't matter how good your story is. No one's gonna care.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
that's
like
true.
Inside. Did anyone ever play Inside?
Inside.
No,
Is this like a limbo game?
I think, or it might be Outside. Regardless, it's got a side. It's basically you walk to the right and solve some puzzles.
Mhm.
The gameplay is whatever. You walk to the right, you solve some puzzles. If it happens, sure.
Mhm.
But the narrative is really interesting. The
Yeah.
gameplay is passable, and the narrative is interesting.
Yeah.
The Last of Us game. It's whatever. It's zombie survival. Yeah, sure, that's good. It's passable. The gameplay is passable. The narrative is interesting. Good game. The Last of Us 2, what I'm hearing, the gameplay
Mhm.
is blech. The narrative is still pretty good, but has some flaws. That's not a good game. That doesn't matter. You fucked it up.
I mean, my understanding with the gameplay was just nothing much had changed, more or less.
Do people still think it's fun to play? Because if it's still fun to play, it's pass.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is like people are just saying, it's fine or it's fun. It's like it's not saying it's like bad or anything. The gameplay,
Okay.
From what
And
I've heard, like stuff like the most critical one review I've seen so far is like from Moist Critical, Charlie. And he said he gave it a 55%. So it's above average. There's nothing wrong with the game. The gameplay is fine, but sometimes I got bored with it. Near the end. Again, I'm paraphrasing what he's saying again, but still though, a lot is just like it's fine, nothing really bad. And I think people are just having too high expectations, really.
Perhaps that's something that happens.
Yeah, that's my take on the whole shitstorm. And also, what I find hilarious, there are people either dead serious or literally joking about like stuff with the plot and gameplay. It's like, and these like the gamers TM. There are people taking this legitimately serious. It's like, what the fuck? These people are trolling you. Do you not realize this?
Who knows?
Do you hear about the news where some people were saying like, oh yes, Ellie's the first playable female character in a video game?
Yeah, I saw that. What the fuck?
Like, I'm pretty sure that was like satire, and people were taking it like dead serious. It's like, dude, you not understand a joke?
Well, counterpoint. Some people are dumbasses.
Fair enough, like you and me, Randy. But I mean, besides the point,
it's hard to tell on the internet, especially when it comes to video games. It's hard to tell when a news outlet is taking the piss or if they're just really fucking stupid.
True.
Could be both.
It can be both.
Yes, that's Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
There's definitely a percentage of people that like can't take a fucking joke, and there's definitely a chance that article was posted genuinely.
It was a tweet.
Well, I don't know. I didn't read it. I didn't see
it's fine. But it was just like a tweet, more or less, and it was not serious. It was like a satire, and people were taking it so serious. I saw it on Reddit, and people were like, "Why are people taking this so seriously?" It's just literally just.
Yep. I don't know. It's all weird.
No. And yeah, I don't know. I just find it like
Gato Roboto.
Yeah, that's just it's just a fucking shitstorm, more or less.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, Peter, do you have anything to say?
About what you just said, or something new?
Just in general.
Yeah, in general.
I mean, fucking Apex Legends coming to Steam? Is that?
Oh, is it?
Probably.
Yeah, it's like on like there's like an introduction, it's like to be announced date. Definitely coming.
Okay, that's nice.
I don't know how you guys feel about that. I've played battle royale games before.
Apex is good.
Specifically,
I have always had fucking shit with. I've never liked battle royale games.
Oh yeah, I played Apex once at your house, right, Randy?
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never liked battle royale games. However, I have a lot of friends that like them, so I end up. I want to be sociable, so I just play them as a group activity.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure I could go on a fucking 10-minute rant about why I don't like battle royales. I think they're dumb conceptually.
I mean,
tell us, Randy, why do you think they're dumb conceptually? That's what I'm interested.
Are we sure we want to cover this topic today? There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
I mean, it's on average like an hour or so. So I mean, I've been writing timestamps more or less.
It's up to if you really want me to, I can broach this topic today,
sure.
or I can save it.
Let's do it.
Oh, okay, sure. Here we go. Let's talk about this. If you're a friend of mine and you're listening to this, you already know exactly what I'm going to fucking say because I've already said it 1,000 times.
Oh God.
I think a game that is best played by not playing is the stupidest fucking concept in the whole world. Because here's the problem with the Battle Royale. You are facing 100 other players, or 99 other players. You're the 100th. And so if, let's say, at the start of the game, or even in the middle of the game, you get into a fight, you shoot them, you use up some ammo. So you use up some ammo, use up some health because you got shot as well, I'm assuming. Probably whatever the fucking resources you used up. And then now, when the next guy finds you and you have to fight them, you're weaker. And that keeps going. Every time you fight someone, you get a little bit weaker. You get fucked up a little bit. You have to spend more resources. So the best way to play is to not play. It's to hide and just wait until everyone kills everyone and you're in the last 4. I recently went over to a friend's house with another friend, and we said, hey, let's all play because they had Fortnite installed. Hey, let's all play Fortnite, and we'll see who makes it to the highest place, and that's the winner. And everyone immediately counted me out because I have the aim of a fucking gopher. I'm really bad at shooters. I don't like them, but whatever.
Yeah, just give me one.
I placed first in all of the rounds because instead of doing what they did, where they ran around and looked for guns and got into fights, I found a bush and I waited for 20 minutes. It's not fun. It's not interesting. I've played games where you run around and you shoot everyone, but that lowers your chances of winning. And it's like, if you want to win, don't play.
You just hide.
Why? That's so fucking dumb. Because it's not even like the matches are like 5-10 minutes. They're like 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's my experience with playing them as well, yeah.
Yeah, whenever I play, I just run around with reckless abandon and kill as many people as I can and then die.
Yeah.
That's what I usually do.
At least I try to do that.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Yeah, it's a good time. I can get a good number of kills in a game. I'm not the worst at it. But it's not the best way to play. It's the whole time you're playing is just niggling in the back of your mind like could be winning. It's
fair enough.
An inherently stupid gameplay loop. Or you're incentivized to not be a part of it. Battle Royale's upset me, and I think they're dumb.
Really fucking riled up about it, eh?
I do. It's fucking. I don't. Whatever. PUBG or whatever came out. Minecraft Hunger Games came out first. I was like, oh, we should play Minecraft Hunger Games. I'm like, I don't really like.
At least it's harder to like hide in Minecraft Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's not easy to hide actually, which is kind of funky. It's really easy to fucking hide in like Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah, no. But actually,
it's my whole life. People have been like, "Oh my god, battle royales," and I'm like, it's kind of dumb. But they just keep being popular, so I just keep having to put up with them,
despite the differences.
To be frank, like the most, at least in my opinion, the more fun battle royale games to play are like the ones on mobile, more or less, because those are far more shorter mobile. So
I could give a whole fucking another.
Oh, COD. Yeah.
You want to talk about me getting upset, and mobile games annoy me to no end.
No, fair enough. Because the thing is, okay, I might rant on mobile games. Peter, finish what you're going to say, then I might rant on that, okay?
Right, so, yeah, I was going to say, like, PUBG Mobile is, like, the same thing as the PUBG on, like, any other platform. Basically, you just, like, find a house, you just get a few guns, and then run to the center of the zone and hide.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how it is.
No, fair enough. So, no, let me start bitching about games on smartphones, I'm a smartphone enthusiast, Randy knows this, and Randy hates me for that, but fine by me.
I don't hate you for it. I just don't think they're interesting.
No, that's understandable. But you know what really pisses me off? Games on smartphones, how many times do you use your smartphone most of the time, when you're doing action, like scrolling through your feed? What mode do you use? Portrait or landscape?
I am on an iPad, so I use landscape.
Okay, but if you're on your phone, you usually use portrait, right? When you're scrolling through your feed or something, right?
Right. Yeah.
Unless you're watching some movie or something, like a cutscene or something, like, you put in landscape then, right?
Yeah.
But with fucking games, the best games I ever played were always in portrait mode, on smartphones. Never in landscape, fucking why?
Never played a fucking phone game in portrait mode. I guess I played like game Words with Friends, maybe.
You're like, what games are you playing to get in portrait mode? The fuck?
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
I mean, it's usually
playing Candy Crush.
No, not Candy Crush.
Friends, Subway Surfer. I guess there's a couple.
Yeah,
Subway Surfer is pretty good.
Some games where the thing is on smartphones, there's very limited controls because of the size of the phone. Unless you have a LG V60 or it's gaming phone where it literally has built-in controls, That's a different story.
If you have a gaming phone, just play it on the computer.
I mean, to be frank, gaming phones are cheaper than computers still, so I'll give you that. But I'm sorry. But my whole beef is with gaming on smartphones is that the controls are shit, and the screen is small as fuck if you're trying to play in landscape,
Are you only talking about shooters or?
No, not on shooters in general. If you're trying to play a game in fucking landscape, why the fuck would you play on landscape?
What? I don't know what you're getting. I mean, most games only allow you to play on landscape, right?
It depends on the game, because I've seen games that are like, I guess you'd say, I wouldn't say not like visual novels, but like games that are like management games, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like not something like necessarily like I don't know how to describe it. Like not in the sense of like Sims, but like something around like some like style of gameplay. You know what I mean? Like you're micromanaging a lot of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it makes sense to play in more portrait. You know, it makes sense for that. You know, I think that's where playing games with smartphones are played the most fun. Where you're just managing stuff, or just like, or it's a plot-driven game. You know, but if it's something in landscape, most of the time it's kind of shit because you have a bunch of controls, and especially with FPS, you know, it's like, why the fuck would I play with an FPS on my phone without an actual controller? At that point, let me just play it on my TV.
Well, so that's the inherent problem with smartphone games.
Yeah,
that they do not submit to their hardware. They try to be a lot of shit
yeah,
that they should not
they do
be.
not.
Counterpoint, card games.
There are games that are
Hard games, yeah.
on phone. Like what's it? Card games, strategy games, management game, anything that's like slow. You can take your time. You can look at it. Even
Or,
like there are faster games like what's it? Angry Birds, Subway Surfers.
Oh yeah, Subway Surfers. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are even faster games. The problem comes when you try to take things that should not be on a phone.
Yeah.
Put them on a phone. For example.
That's like my main beef, you know. It's like I understand if you're trying to port something like, you know, KOTOR, you know, some RPG game on like old one like 2 decades ago, you know, on your phone.
That's fucking terrible.
I mean, it depends. Like if you're planning to hook up your phone to like a TV and like use a Bluetooth control, I think that's nice. You know, it's like, hey, I'm not complaining about that's fun to do. You know, if you don't have an actual, you know, PC or a console.
The problem comes more when you play it on your phone.
Yeah, no, that's my main beef. You know, it's like Jesus Christ. I understand like, oh, we can play on your phone, but just let me just, you know, use my phone as a mini PC so I can just play it on my you know, desktop or on my, you know, like TV.
What's it like mobile MOBAs and like fucking shooters? I don't get because you're using up so much screen real estate to move around and fire abilities and shit, and it's like it's just a worse experience.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's the mobile medium was never built for you to like play a dual stick game.
I mean, it depends. There's some phones that are built like that, but you know.
That's what I'm saying is that there's like it's a whole other. You have to get a special device. Could you imagine if you had to get a second Xbox or whatever so you could play fucking MOBAs or whatever shooter games?
Oh,
it doesn't make sense. Just stick to your medium. Stick to the things you're good at.
No, I can understand if you want to like.
Awesome game. Flappy Bird or not Flappy? Yeah, I mean, sure to an extent, Flappy Bird. Angry Birds, phenomenal. There are legitimately really good phone games.
Yeah, no.
Those games are good because they apply to the medium that they're set in.
I mean, to be frank, Randy, if I'm gonna be honest, I've played some good phone FPS games, but you know, here's the thing, here's the kicker. They're not complex. The gameplay, they understand the screen size, they understand your real estate, they don't spam you with controls. It's basic, but it's entertaining.
What I'm saying is that's not like it's never gonna be the same. It's never gonna be as like
that's a given.
It's just all shrunken. It's just less.
Yeah, games like platformers, you know, those are a good example where it actually makes it sense to play it. You know, I'm playing one right now, and it makes sense to.
Platformers on a phone, I'm still pretty meh with.
I don't know. Like for me, platformers on phones are pretty fine. You know, it's like the controls, like it's not complex. You need like 3 or 4 controls at max. You know, nothing else. You know,
it comes back to that same problem of when you have to put your hands on your display. You're using up a lot of that screen real estate. And
that's why people buy large phones, Randy, as well, you know.
I have a fucking iPad. I know better than everyone. It's still bad.
I mean, I don't know, Randy, if you're a fucking idiot. And here's the thing. How do you play on your iPad? Do you play with a keyboard, controller, or just...
I play with my hands like a person might.
Gee, and you're a fucking idiot. Okay, thank you, Randy.
I'm not going to fucking spend a shitload of money for an iPad or the keyboard.
Don't buy. I'm not saying just buy a Bluetooth. Just use a Bluetooth keyboard. That's it.
Why would I spend money on that? To what end?
I mean, I don't know. Like I've seen, like I don't know. You don't have like a Bluetooth keyboard or controller to just play your games on?
No, because why would I do that?
Don't you have a Switch controller?
No, I have a Switch Lite.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Regardless, like why would you spend money on a wireless fucking controller or whatever? Shit's relevant. Shit's irrelevant. Like it's like, oh my god, then you can play shooters on your iPad. Why would I do that though? That's not. It's not what it's made for.
Okay, no, I see what you mean. Okay, I thought you were saying like, oh yeah, I play shooters on my iPad. It's like, Randy, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I think they're dumb. I hate that because the thing that upsets me the most is when a game comes out is legitimately interesting and sounds really fun to play, and then you find out it's only on mobile, and it's like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I would steal this from me.
Like the thing with mobile games in general, it's like if it's like a shooter RPG, I would like connect my phone to my TV and just start playing it from there.
Else.
You know,
play it on my fucking computer or my Xbox or a Switch. Like there's a million billion better places to put an RPG or a shooter. Why are you putting it on a fucking phone?
I mean, to be frank, I personally, for me, like at least with stuff like that, there's some legitimate reason, but not to play on your phone, if that makes sense. Because a lot of phones you can actually output to your TV now or your computer. You know,
have you ever tried to play a MOBA on a console?
Why would the fuck would I play a MOBA on a console?
Exactly. It doesn't work. It's yucko.
Exactly. But what I'm saying, Randy, is
one MOBA that works on a console and it plays like no other MOBA.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Smite. You control instead of controlling Smite how you do with most MOBAs, where you click where you want to walk. It's controlled with like the left stick and the right, like it's dual stick with the triggers. And that is the only MOBA that works on a fucking console because it understands where it is and what it's good at.
Yeah. Yeah, but like the thing is, my beef at like most games, it's like at least on phones, it's like, okay, cool, let me output this to a TV and like let me just use it as like, you know, a mini console or like a mini PC or something, you know, and just like play it from there, you know. But most games don't support it, which I just find mind fucking boggling. Where you have stuff like Netflix and Hulu and like, you know, Amazon Prime that fucking do it, you know.
It's like, well, it's because it's a really recent idea using your phone.
It's not a fucking recent idea, right? It's been a thing for like the last 5 years. Windows Phone had that. Fucking Windows Phone.
Yeah. No one gives a shit about the Windows Phone either. So who cares what it had?
I'm just saying, for the past 10 years, we have this idea for many years, and it's like, yeah, let's actually start doing this more common, actually fucking integrate into goddamn Android, you know? That's my second beef with like just Android in general. It's like, why the fuck is this not baked into the OS already, you know?
Because it's a fucking underused feature that no one cares about or is asking for.
I mean, I don't know, Randy. Many people were asking for this earlier, many years ago, you know?
You're the first person I've heard who's been like, oh, let me use my phone as a mini console. And it's like, why not just buy a fucking regular console?
Because some people are poor, Randy.
Well,
then buy a secondhand console. You can get a fucking PlayStation 2 for very little money. For less money than
Randy, I don't think you realize, if you try to buy a console in Pakistan, where do you think you can buy a fucking console?
You're not in Pakistan, Umar.
I know, but most of my family, you know, who play games, they mostly play on their smartphones. I'm the only one who actually plays on my fucking PC.
How, if they can afford a smartphone, it feels like it'd be way cheaper to just buy a secondhand console at that point.
Randy, do you not realize how fucking expensive? Like, here's the thing: a smartphone is literally the only PC they use, if that makes sense.
I threw up in my mouth.
You okay, Randy?
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm very sick today.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. If I, you know.
Oh no, it's fine. It's not your fault. It's just how my body works.
Okay,
regardless of the point.
You know, but still, like, Randy.
Coming back to the argument.
You know, but here's the thing: the only reason why people play smartphones is because most of the time it's the only PC they have. You know, I've seen many kids who don't even have an actual fucking laptop. As the Chromebook was their like first fucking laptop.
It feels like there has to be a cheaper alternative, though. Phones are not fucking cheap.
Randy, you can buy a $200 phone that works fine.
You can buy a much cheaper PlayStation.
Here's the thing: are you going to invest?
You know what, guys? I think we should move on from this. We're taking way too much.
No, Peter. I'm going to die on this damn hill if necessary. You know. I don't know if you realize, you know, it's like comparing a console to a PC, you know. Yeah, a PC is more powerful and can do more, but it's more expensive. But here's the thing, it can do more. A phone can do more than a goddamn console.
The issue is cost. Get a cheaper thing.
You know, like, here's the thing, if it's cost, you know, it's like, here's the thing, would you rather have do the things, one that can do most things pretty well, or one that does only one thing specific and nothing else? For the same price, and you only have that much money.
Well, it depends on the situation that I'm in. If I want to play games, I will get a cheap way to play games. It's like, hey, I really need a knife. Oh, okay, here's a Swiss Army knife. Thanks. Technically, this is an answer to what my question is, but it's not what I was looking for.
I mean, here's the thing. the thing is, we live in a really rich country. We're pretty well off compared to most other people, you know. So
yes, obviously.
no, like so we have the benefit of using a smartphone, a PC, and a game console, you know, where we can play on anything device. This is really a first world issue more than anything else. But you see places where it's like people may not have the cash, you know, to actually buy a console or a PC, and like their smartphone is the only device they have to use it, you know.
What I'm saying is, if you're going out of your way to buy a smartphone, especially like a good smartphone that like runs games and shit,
yeah,
like if you're doing that for the purpose of running games, why not get a cheaper smartphone that doesn't run games, but is a smartphone for all intents and purposes, like making phone calls and texts,
yeah.
and then buy a cheap, like a used PlayStation, like something cheap, some other fucking console.
And you know, here's the thing, Randy. People do that.
That's what I'm saying you should do.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Okay, now I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about something entirely different. Okay, sorry.
Oh yeah, you're saying like, oh, you should like they have a fucking expensive smartphone that plays games. Why? If you want to play games, get a cheap smartphone that doesn't play games.
I see.
Get
Okay,
a fucking console.
Okay, now I see what you're talking about. I was confused. I thought you were talking about like, you know, you should always do that. It's like, Randy, I don't think because most people don't have that choice to do that, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, now I see what you mean. Yeah, you know, I understand what you're saying.
People aren't gonna have to worry about it. But if you're specifically trying to play games, don't go find another workaround solution. Just get a thing to play them cheaply if you don't have the money.
Yeah.
There are methods.
Yeah, the thing is like yeah.
Yeah. I just I never understood this, and I may never understand it. But it's just I don't understand why you would go out of your way to do something in a worse way.
I don't think most people do that on purpose, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Because
don't think
like my cousins, you know, they don't it's like, yeah, let me buy a smartphone instead of a console. It's their only access to play a video game, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
course. I mean, I was young, like it shit happened. I get it. I
Yeah.
understand the concept of like you don't have money, you just do what you do.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Like, oh, why are you buying? No, that's what I never understood about gaming phones in general. You know, I can understand like accessories for that. You know, if it's like, oh, you don't have enough money to buy a console because you know you have other issues to do. You know, but here's like a $10 accessory to play. You know, with a controller. You know, more or less. It's like okay,
like well, yeah, if that's your only option, then yeah, sure, fuck it. Who am I?
Yeah, that's not my issue. Like my issue is just mainly with like smartphone game. It's like because most people are like, I don't know if you realize now, PCs and laptops are kind of dying out for anything that isn't really for gaming. It's kind of like dying out, if that makes sense. Most people are doing their stuff on their phones now.
I know. I do all my work on my iPad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying, right? Like most people don't really use their laptops or desktop as like, you know, as they used to. So it's like it makes sense for people saying like these companies like making games on their phones. They just really haven't adapted how to use a phone. They don't really know. But I guess even after, I know it takes time and years, you know, but it's like if you want to have RPGs or FPS, you know, you have to think far more differently on how to do it on a phone than on a PC.
It's just fundamentally different.
Yeah, fundamentally, there's nothing inherently wrong with a genre of a FPS or a RPG. Because I played RPGs on my phones and like the ones that are like portrait mode, not like the landscape, and those make sense. It's just more how to translate that game more than anything else. You know, I think that's we both agree on that. There needs to be a translation more than anything else, because you can't have a one-to-one thing without having a whole system or setup now.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, sorry about this, Peter.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, no, but Peter, like, I mean, you have family in China, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like any younger like cousins, I guess.
No, not younger anyway.
Older, I guess.
Yeah.
Do they game on their? Are they gamers? I guess gamer TM.
Gamers.
No.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Because like I noticed, like mostly my family members in Asia, you know, like in Pakistan specifically, they don't have a gaming console. They just play on their phones because it's the only access they have. You know, that's why I noticed like a lot of, like, unless you have these things. Actually, what I find interesting, there's a thing called gamer cafes, Randy.
I've heard of them. I'm aware of them.
Yeah, like in those cases, yeah, it's either that or playing on PC. You know, it's like there's no consoles in Asia, more or less. It's kind of weird, except in like Japan. But I think that's a different story for a different day, you know. So yeah, I know. Oh God, my throat's quite dry, but still though. Peter, do you have anything to say?
Trust me, I feel like shit.
Yeah, I know.
mean, speaking of like mobile games,
Mm.
I mean, we've aside from all the topics we've covered so far,
Yeah.
I don't have like a lot to add on. I guess.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, you guys are pretty thorough.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should probably be ending the podcast right now. So anyway,
Yeah.
thanks for listening to the Oh God Why podcast, episode 13. This was special.
Went well.
Yeah, it actually went well for us all being kind of dead inside right now. So anyway, it's me, your host, Umar Awesome, my co-host Randy Modula, and my co-host Peter Liu. Do you guys have anything to say before we close off?
Nope. I'm all done.
Okay, what about you?
My tummy is upset and I am tired.
Fair enough. What about you, Peter? Do you have anything to say?
Everyone, stay safe and have fun wherever
Okay.
you are. I guess.
We'll hope to see you guys next week. See you later.